All right, today we're going to talk about something well, it's a real game changer for families navigating the world of ADHD. We're going to shift away from that constant battle of correction and focus on one super powerful idea: connection.
Okay, does this sound familiar to you? That daily grind, the power struggles over homework, chores, maybe just getting out the door in the morning? You know that feeling like you're stuck on a hamster wheel and nothing you do seems to work? And what happens when you try to lay down the law, right? You try to enforce the rules, and it just feels like you're pouring gasoline on a fire. Everything escalates. By the end of it, everyone, you, your kid, is just completely exhausted and defeated. Hey, if that's you, you are definitely not alone.
Yeah, this is what we're calling the frustration cycle. So let's actually dig into this. Why does this happen? And why do those traditional methods we all tend to fall back on, why do they so often miss the mark?
So, what's really going on here? Look, this whole cycle, it's not happening because you're a bad parent, and it's not because you have a defiant child. It's actually driven by real neurodevelopmental differences in the brain, things that affect executive functioning and emotional control. So at its core, this is about brain wiring. It's not just about behavior.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, there's a new path forward, and we're going to explore it. It's called co-regulation.
So what in the world is co-regulation? Simply put, it's a parent-led approach where you help your child manage their emotions and their behavior. But, and this is the most important part, it works by prioritizing the relationship and a feeling of safety first, before you ask for anything else. It's all about support, not about control.
And this slide just lays it out so clearly. On the one hand, you've got the old way, shouting, "Just calm down." We all know how well that works, right? It's all about demanding control. But then you look at the co-regulation way. This is about entering your child's emotional state first and then guiding them toward calm. The difference is huge. One path almost always leads to escalation. The other, it builds trust, and over time, it actually improves compliance.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, doesn't it? But how do you actually do it in the heat of the moment? Well, let's get practical. Let's open up your co-regulation toolkit. These are real strategies you can start using like today. It really boils down to 3 core steps. First up, parental attunement. That's a fancy way of saying read your child's cues and just meet them where they are emotionally. Step 2, modeling regulation. You got to show them what calm looks like. And finally, step 3 is guided practice, where you're right there with them, helping them navigate those really big feelings.
You know, one of the most powerful tools in this whole toolkit is just your physical presence. And we're not talking about big, dramatic actions here. It can be a gentle hand on their shoulder, just sitting close by, maybe making some brief eye contact. These tiny little things send a massive signal to your child's nervous system, a signal that says, "You're safe. I'm right here."
Okay, another great technique, naming emotions. When you actually say the feeling out loud for them, something like, "Wow, it looks like you're feeling really frustrated with that game." You're doing a couple of amazing things. First, you're validating their experience. You're showing them they're seen and understood. And second, you're helping to externalize that feeling, right? It makes it something they can manage instead of something that's just overwhelming them.
And then there's guided movement. Think about it. When emotions are running high, our bodies hold all that energy. Especially for a nervous system that struggles to regulate itself, movement is such a vital physical release. So you could encourage some slow, deep breaths, maybe suggest a quick stretch, or even just a short walk together. The key here is to make it feel playful and supportive, not like it's just another chore or demand.
All right, so we have the tools. Now let's see how they actually work in the real world. Let's put this theory into practice.
First up, a scenario I think we can all relate to. The morning chaos. Oh man, you know the scene. Everyone's rushing around, shoes are mysteriously missing, and the tension is just ratcheting up by the second. So instead of that classic command, "Put your shoes on now," the co-regulation approach sounds totally different. It sounds like, "I see it's frustrating to put on your shoes. How about we try one together?" See that switch? It's a total shift from a demand that starts a power struggle to an invitation to connect and solve the problem as a team. And the result? Well, by guiding them through it step by step, you completely bypass the meltdown. The shoes get on, everybody's stress level comes way down, and, this is huge, you've just made a little deposit in your relationship bank.
All right, let's tackle another big one: homework frustration. You know this one too.
The tears, the complete shutdown, the "I can't do it" meltdown that happens over one single math problem.
So here's what the parent does in this case. They don't immediately jump in to solve the math problem. First, they might just sit nearby, quietly, no pressure. Maybe they even model taking a few deep breaths themselves. And it's only after that emotional storm starts to calm down that they gently guide the problem solving. It's so important to remember this. Calm comes before content.
So in both of these scenarios, there are really two things happening at once. On the surface, yeah, the task gets done. The shoes get on, the homework gets finished. But underneath, something so much more important is happening. The child is actually learning how to find their way back to calm. And with every single one of these interactions, that parent-child relationship just gets a little bit stronger.
Okay, now we've arrived at what is probably the most important and maybe the hardest part of this entire process. Before you can help your child, you absolutely have to look inward. You have to regulate yourself first.
This really is the golden rule here. You simply cannot give away a state of calm that you don't have yourself. To guide your child to a place of calm, you have to find your own anchor first. I love this saying. You have to be the thermostat in the room, setting the temperature, not the thermometer just reflecting it.
So how on earth do you do that when you're in the thick of it? A few practical tips can really help. Things like practicing mindfulness, even if it's just for 60 seconds. Learning to take a quick pause when you feel your own frustrations start to bubble up. And it's also about self-awareness, knowing your own triggers and having a plan in place, whether that means calling a friend, talking to your partner, or getting some professional support.
And here's a really simple tool for growth. After one of those tough moments is over, instead of beating yourself up about it, just get curious. Ask yourself two simple questions. What actually helped in that situation? And what's just one small thing I could try differently next time? Listen, this is not about being perfect. It's all about practice.
So let's wrap this up with the core idea right here. Co-regulation is more than a technique. It is a relationship-based approach that prioritizes safety and empathy. And that's really the heart of it all. This is a powerful reminder that we're not just trying to manage behavior. We are building a connection so strong that it becomes the very foundation for our child's ability to navigate their entire world.